Hello and welcome back to Star Citizen. My name is Evenlease, and today on 10 Minutes More or Less Ship Review, right behind me, I have the Drake Caterpillar, what's considered a medium freight cargo ship. Let's go ahead, take a look. Say the reason why I sounded kind of surprised in my intro there was because medium freight with this ship. This ship feels freaking massive, but it is medium freight just because there are so many ships in the game that are going to surpass the amount of SCU you can put on this thing drastically. So I can understand why it's got the medium freight title, but this ship, don't get me wrong, is freaking huge. So let's go ahead and take a look at this thing and go over its stats. Now, before I do, thank you everybody so far for your amazing comments. And when I do meet you in game, you guys are always awesome. Make sure you're entered in both giveaways. Remember, they end on the 19th. Now, moving on to this ship here. This is the Drake Caterpillar. It used to cost $300 if you were to buy it on the Pledge Store. That changed a while ago. Now it costs $330 on the Pledge Store. And if you were to buy it in game, it is $12,474,000. Honestly, it's a pretty great price for the amount of cargo it could move, but there is some downfalls to this ship, and I'll go over that here in just a second. Now, a lot of questions in regards to this ship is kind of like, how's it going to perform in 3.24? Honestly, given the fact that you can physically open every one of these doors, you could still load cargo in here. It's going to be kind of a pain because the doors don't open and then drop down like in an elevator fashion. But the cargo doesn't even go on the doors in the first place. So it's not like you're going to be doing much with that anyways, right? Because when this goes down as an elevator, you still got to put the cargo on the grid further back. I don't really honestly see the problem here. It just means that you got to be a little bit more accessible to have two people doing this, right? You got to have one person down here bringing the cargo over, dropping it here, and then having someone up there grabbing it and pulling it in. If you load it from this side, you are going to have that like gantry up there that prevents you from loading bigger boxes. So go to the other side of the ship and load it up from over there, and it's a much easier process. Definitely not impossible. Obviously, people want this ship updated, the most it can be just to make the process smoother. But you know what? Some ships are they're just not going to be that easy to load in the first place. Now, there are specific ships like the Anvil Carrack, which isn't designated as a cargo ship, but it can transport a crap ton of cargo that you can't even manually load at all, unless you're going to sit there and load one SCU boxes for 15 hours, right? Now, you can still auto-load in 3.24, so don't let that stop you from using the ship. But yeah, there are certain ships that don't even have the ability to manual load, so I feel like this ship still has a place and is going to work out great in 3.24. Now, going over the stats on this ship, you got to ask yourself, it's a huge cargo ship. Does it have any firepower to it? It does. Surprisingly, this thing has 1,856 damage per second, and that's due to the fact that it has these two size 3 M5A lasers on the bottom here of the command module, as well as two size 3 CF337 Panthers on the top of the command module. Now, I call it a command module because technically this part of the ship here is considered the breakaway or, drop ship, breakaway, the escape pod, whatever you want to use it as. This ship in the future will be able to detach from the main portion of this body here, and you'll be able to fly it from your ship and or from the body of this ship and take it, planet side and whatnot and use it as kind of like a drop ship. Or an escape pod, certain facts like that. So pretty cool, pretty neat design. And they will be, from what I understand, this command module will be interchangeable with the Ironclads. So that'll be pretty cool. Can't wait to see what the Ironclad one looks like, though, because honestly, the Ironclad's a massive ship, so hopefully it's not as small, the command module, as this. Hopefully it's a little bit bigger, but obviously it can't be too much bigger or it's going to interfere with the interchangeability, right? Now, outside of those weapons, those are the pilot-controlled weapons. There is no missiles on this ship, so don't expect yourself to be slinging some missiles while you're slinging some cargo. But you do have two-manned two-manned turrets protecting your cargo. They are two size 4 CF447 Rhinos, both of them. So 2 at the front and 2 at the bottom on the rear here. So that's good. You do have a lot of defensive capability. Now, I don't want to spend too much time on the exterior of the ship just because there's a lot to, look over. There is no, from what I could see, there's no thrusters that can do VTOL or anything. These thrusters are massive. They are huge, which comes to another point of mine of why this is so surprisingly slow of a ship. And you know what? Before we go inside, I'll actually tell you about that part first. Now, this ship has a max SCM speed of 130. 130, I think that's the slowest I've reviewed so far, with a forward boost of 300 and a backwards boost of 120 and a nav speed of 900. That is something. Thankfully, this thing can move a lot of cargo, because that is really something. That's going to be my biggest negative about this ship, and I'll be straightforward with you on that. Of course, it being an older ship in the game, it's going to have some bugs here and there, so that could potentially hurt the score a little bit, but it's not going to be much. It's a 0.5%. It's a 1 point difference, right? But otherwise, that's a pretty big hit for this ship. But she's huge. What do you expect? But then you're like, well, those engines are huge. I expect it to go faster. Right, but how do you break this ship, right? Like, how do you actually slow down? Oh, wait, I just told it to go down, and then I told it to go... Okay, yeah, whatever. Now, getting into further defensive capability outside those massive turret guns, just in case you don't have people with you, you do have 200,000 shield. It is a quadrant shield, so that technically means you have 50,000 shield on each face, which is pretty awesome. So 50 front, 50 back, 50 side to side. So that is pretty cool, allowing you to, take a lot of hits before you need to worry about it hitting the hull, which is pretty awesome. I like when there's a lot of shield in a ship like this. And then outside of the shield, you do have 92,700 ship HP. So once the shields do fall, you still got quite a bit of ship HP to go ahead and protect yourself. So pretty awesome, pretty good amount of health points and shield. So, I mean, given it the fact that it's a cargo ship and it's, just dog crap slow. It's so slow. It's got to have that, right? So, yeah. Let's go ahead and take a look at the interior here. I'm going to have some special interior shots, trying a little bit of that more often. But starting off here on the side, you do have right here what looks to be gun racks. I can't place anything on them, so they might be gun racks, but they just don't work. So I wish that worked, but it doesn't. That would be a good place for them, though. Right here is the entry ramp, which technically this is the only entry to the ship as of right now, unless you're to somehow jump into one of the cargo bay areas while you have the door open. This is your entry point, as the other entry point on the command module is not currently accessible. Now, if we go to the back of the ship here, it takes you to the lower hallway, which is also taking you to engineer access. Now, this is the route you want to go to get to the command module to fly the ship, so we'll wait on that. We're going to turn around and head back this way. So again, the ramp you came up on, and right here is a living quarter for you and your crew. So you do have a nice table, in Drake fashion, with some nice bunks here, as well as a shower right over here, and a toilet. Yeah, so toilet right there and a shower. So, pretty interesting. I like how Drake doesn't like to separate these things. They're like, you know what? You're going to crap, you're going to eat, you're going to sleep all in the same space. Get over it. That is what it is. But thankfully, it seems like they have quite a bit of, oh, these are heaters. Okay, so not only is it going to smell bad in here, but you're going to be feeling it. Moving on, this is the access to the cargo area from the, where your crew sits and lays and everything. This is all your cargo rooms. So if you go down through each door, there is a cargo room. You do have the gantry here with, access with the ladder and access up top as well. You can control both doors from the bottom buttons here or the top buttons up there for each room. So pretty cool. This is your cargo grid. So, yep, this is where it all sits. And speaking of that cargo grid, this thing carries 576 cargo on that grid. Now, that's a pretty impressive cargo amount for what's considered a medium freight hauler. That's pretty awesome. I really like that. And, this is still an awesome ship, even though she's older and she's been kind of outclassed by the Hercules and stuff. This ship is still great. It really is. So, and I really love the look of it. Now we're going to proceed through the lower hallway again and take a look down this way, going into engineering, where you control, the primary ship systems, like your big old engines here and, a lot of power generators, a lot of where your components are going to be. You don't have any components in this ship as of right now. Like, there's no components pass and there's no gold standard pass. So something to remember, none of that. And then you got a nice little ladder here, so we'll check that out here in just a second. But you have turret access. This goes to the bottom turret, so you hop in that seat, go on down, and try to protect the back of your ship. If you go over here, you have the stairway access. Oh, speaking of which, that engineer console right there is going to be very popular in this ship. Once engineering comes into play, get ready to use that. Going into the stairway access here, you head on up, and yeah, this ship has been through the ringer. I'll tell you, there has been so many bugs throughout the lifetime of this ship. It's been something else. I'm used to walking through this hallway here, and then you get like a black wall that you got to walk through, and yeah, it's just been something. Typical Drake fashion. You got wires hanging around everywhere. You got pipes, just out and about. So easy to repair if anything breaks. It's you don't have to rip open a wall. It's already ripped open. So that's pretty nice. I like that. Right here is like a nice little tractor beam command module style room where you walk into here and you have a very beautiful view. Honestly, I wish, you know what, actually in 3.24, you can buy furniture in the store and set up chairs and stuff. I'm going to put a lawn chair right here and just have a nice view. That'd be pretty nice. Sit down and enjoy what I'm looking at instead of standing here, because this is just phenomenal. I think more rooms like this on ships would be awesome. And then you actually have a tractor beam control right here because it is right underneath this little area here. And so, yeah, you can put cargo in from right here. Boom, boom. Make sure somebody's over there. You could probably go without them, but it would be very helpful to have that person there. If you walk across this way, we'll take a look here through the upper hallway. Go through this door. This is your server access room here. It's going to have some more engineering probably and some components, as well as going through here is power plant access. So this is where that ladder should lead in the jump drive area. So a lot of your power plant stuff here, pretty interesting. You're never going to be able to get any of these components out unless these doors, I think these do drop through, honestly. Probably a button somewhere to lower these outside of the ship so you can actually replace or repair these components from the exterior. But then here is where that ladder comes up to. A lot of the components on the ship are going to be in this room, and I feel like they're probably going to have to redesign a lot of this space because this is a pretty big ship. This is a pretty small component housing situation here. So, expect this room to maybe shrink a little bit once components are actually put into place. And then moving forward, let's go right through the power plant access. And then you got another server access door here. More doors, the better. More areas for fire propagation, right? So you can just seal off a room and kill it out. Extinguish that fire through the use of oxygen deprivation. EVA access. You go through this door here. And to your right, you do have a nice little hatch that you can go through to, get outside your ship. Attach a... I always skip up on this, but just attached to stations and ships, and it's always on the tip of my tongue of what it's called. An airlock for what? I always do that. Oh, here's a bug. So yeah, that scares me. Oh, okay, I can cross. Okay, woo. So this is like you're now on the gantry way of the cargo room, so you can go through. Obviously, that is just where one of the doorway points is, and that's just so freaky to me because that's usually when you fall through the map and you start screaming and yelling and having to, respawn your ship. And going back, okay, I've really confused you. Let's start from the back here. Here's the stairway from the engine room. You come on up. You got the tractor beam, and then straight ahead over here, you have the pilot's area, the command module. Again, every one of these airlock doors are massive because there's a lot of areas in the ship that could potentially detach in the future. A lot of modularity in this ship. Now, if you go into here, you have a pilot seat and a co-pilot seat. Obviously, this is where you're going to command this entirety of the ship. And it's pretty cool. I like the viewpoint here. I wish the viewpoint on the Ironclad would be up top. That area, the view area that they have on that. I wish that was where the command module was. I thought that would have been super cool. But I think they're leaving that to the new RSI design. The new RSI design with the Doritos, they have a lot of the cockpits either very front of the ship or up here on the top middle, kind of like a Star Destroyer. So really cool design feature. This is kind of Drake's thing, is to put it off to the side with these type of ships. So whatever, if they want to leave it to that, that's fine. And then you got two support seats here. You get in this one here and support and yeah. And then if you go down this nice little ladder in your command module, you got a, nice area for your crew for the command module. You got 2 beds, you got a nice little eating area, and then you have access to your tractor beam that is on this side of the ship right here. Another cool little area. This ship is just super cool. And then here's a door, a door that doesn't work, but it's a door. So cool. I like doors. It just doesn't work. Someday that probably will, but it just doesn't right now. Or maybe when you detach the module and you land on the ground, that's when that door becomes accessible. But then here you got like a stove situation and, a sink and all that. And then you got a nice little shower over here. And you just crap on the floor. It just sucks it right. I'm just kidding. There's probably a toilet or something that peers out of the wall. But, it's still super surprising to me. Drake is all about the pipes and wires out and everything, but they have literally the most amount of safety precaution when it comes to these like guardrails. I'm thinking Drake is expecting you to be like 80 and flying these ships. They're literally everywhere. Oh, you can't get in your bed. You got to grab onto it, and you can't, get on the crapper without it. They're literally on every door and, module. They're everywhere. But yeah, it's a really cool interior. I really love it. And I think this is just fantastic. I can't wait to see a lot of the functions of this ship come into play, so that'll be really awesome. Wow. This is definitely not 10 minutes more or less. So, you got the general look at the ship here, all through the cargo bays and all of that. It does carry, again, that 576 cargo. And then we already talked about the nav speed and everything, but let's go over the quantum fuel. So you're like, well, you can transport a ton of cargo. You can do it very slowly. Now, how much fuel do you have? You have 11,000 quantum fuel. So that is really awesome. That allows you to go so many locations without having to worry about, refueling at any point, which I'm all about, because who wants to constantly stop to refuel? But honestly, when you're transporting cargo anyways, you're always stopping at stations and stuff, especially with the ship this big. So you're going to be transporting a lot of cargo. You might as well refuel while you're there. This ship is fantastic. I think this thing just has a real, special place in my heart. I actually have a video of this ship, really old video, I think back way down on my channel, really old, flying it to Levski. And, trying to drop into a hangar there and drop cargo. It was, man, this thing's just been around. And I think it's still a fantastic ship, even through the bugs and its issues. And even though some newer ships are, not letting this ship get as much love, people are flying the newer ships and they like those better because maybe they hit harder or maybe they just have the Crusader look to them. But I still think this ship is great. And if you're a fanboy of Drake, you're going to really love this thing. Honestly, if I were to give this ship a score, the only real big negative I have, because this ship has a fantastic amount of health, it has a great amount of DPS for being a cargo hauler. You don't get that often. Look at the Raft. Look at the whole A. Look at the whole C. None of those ships have anything to protect themselves. This ship does. And I think it's fantastic. So yeah, this ship is absolutely a 9 out of 10. It does drop that point due to its speed. I would love to get a 10 out of 10, but you know what? I wish it was just a little bit faster. Honestly, 9 out of 10, and if you were to truly think about it, if speed is not a concern to you, it's a 10 out of 10, right? So 9 out of 10, potentially a 10 out of 10. It's a fantastic ship. Let me know what you think of the Drake Caterpillar down in the comments below. Do you have one? Do you still fly it? If you don't, why? This is just such a great ship, And she's really beautiful. Come on, give this ship some attention, guys. Get rid of the Crusader ships. Give this ship some attention. Just don't bounty in this ship. It's a cargo ship. That's about it. You can definitely do more in the C2 Hercules. Any of the Hercules ships, you can definitely do more. Bunkers and all that, so I totally understand. But this ship, for its role, 9 out of 10. It's a great ship. Let me know what you guys think. Thank you guys for watching. I really hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one.